In the meantime, a jury is deliberating right now whether to convict a former Spokane police officer of rape. Nathan Nash is facing multiple rape charges from multiple women. KREM 2's Janelle Finch was in court today for closing arguments. Janelle?
After 7 days of trial, hearing from Spokane law enforcement, medical teams, the two alleged victims, Nash's wife and Nash himself, the jury is now in deliberations. Based on testimonies and evidence provided, a jury of 4 women and 8 men will now determine if Nash is guilty or not guilty of rape and unlawful imprisonment charges. But before they left to deliberate, the state and the defense had one final chance to plead their case.
I believe the only verdict that is supported by the evidence in the law is not guilty on all the counts, and I'd ask you to find so.
Now is the time to apply the facts of this case to the law and find the defendant, Nathan Nash, guilty.
It's been nearly 3 full years since the alleged incidents that brought Nathan Nash to this Spokane County courtroom. Back in 2019, 2 women on 2 separate occasions claimed Nash raped them while he was on duty. Court documents show on both instances Nash was a responding officer on an initial 911 call. Then at a later date, the women claim Nash followed up and changed their perception of those in uniform as he violated their space and bodies. Monday, the state began with its closing arguments. The state attorney repeated a theme set in opening arguments, that police officers are meant to protect and serve, which Nash failed to do.
Nathan Nash chose not to protect and serve. He exploited his position as a police officer to commit the rapes of these 2 women.
The 2 alleged victims testified while on the stand. Both of the women claimed they trusted Nash, and he abused that trust. The defense has stood on lack of evidence and questioned the credibility of the alleged victims since the start of the trial.
Mr. Nash, just like everybody in this courtroom, is presumed innocent when the state makes an accusation against him. The presumption continues throughout the entire trial unless, and only then, during your deliberations, you find it has been overcome by the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And importantly, a reasonable doubt is one for which a reason exists and may arise from the evidence or lack of evidence. And in here, I suggest you have both.
But in the state's closing rebuttal, the attorney asked the jury to consider Nash's credibility in this trial.
Mr. Nash is presumed innocent, but he is not presumed credible. You are the judges of his credibility. So you can consider the personal interest that Mr. Nash has in the outcome of the case.
What evidence the jury chooses to believe is up to them. By the end of deliberations, either 2 victims will receive justice or a former Spokane police officer will be freed of some or all charges. Now the decision is in the hands of the jury. If convicted, Nash could receive up to life in prison. Once a verdict is reached, we will update you with that information. Reporting live from the Spokane County Courthouse, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.